I need to know. I need to know, yeah. Is it programming, social media, or a secret to uncover? So educating, so wise, informative and bright eyes. What's the evaluating game? Revelation is the aim.
I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. You need to know, you need to know, you need to know. We all need to know. What do you need to know? What do I need to know? What do we all need to know? We started the book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1 and the book of James chapter 1 verse 13. We are comparing, maybe they contradict each other. There's a word there that says tempt. God tempt Abraham. And in the book of James, it says God does not tempt anybody. So is there a contradiction? So therefore, you need to look at the root language, not the English language. There's something that is called Bible language. The Hebrew, the Greek, and the Aramaic. The Hebrew, the Old Testaments were written in the Hebrew language. The New Testament written in the book of Greek, that is Greek language. And the language that Jesus spoke is Aramaic. Aramaic is just like there's a pidgin English, that is pidgin Greek. So that's the language that Jesus spoke when he was alive. So in the book of Genesis, tempt there means nisa, which meaning to test, to prove, to examine, to try, to assess loyalty. But when you go to the book of James chapter 1 verse 13, God does not tempt. Tempt there means periazo. Periazo means to entice to sin, to seduce morally, to lure towards doing evil. And you have to know God cannot lure you to do evil. So God never entices you. God will never entice you or invite people to sin. God is not the author of moral evil. So let's look at the hermeneutical in resolution. So there is no contradiction. You have to know there's no place that Bible contradicted each other, no matter what. It's just about you are yet to do a thorough exegesis. You are yet to do the exegete. So maybe you are reading your mind to the mind of the author, which is exegesis. So the book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1, God tests, that is God prove faith. This is for growth. God tests to prove your faith. This is for growth, that is for obedience, for refinement. God want to test you. Maybe you are a lawyer. He want to test you. It's not going to lure you to commit sin. So the book of James chapter 1 verse 13. So God never tempt anybody. The book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1 says God tempt Abraham. God, how you need to read is that God tested Abraham. God assess his loyalty. God examine his loyalty. God prove his loyalty. So that's how you must be able to read it. But the book of James chapter 1 verse 13, God, that is, God will never entice you to sin. God will never seduce you to sin. God will never lure you to sin. So God is not the author. So therefore, the book of James God never tempts anyone to sin. That is Satan's role. That is Satan's role. So testing and tempting. Testing is God proving. God will prove you, strengthen you, refine your faith. God want to prove your faith. God want to strengthen your faith. God want to refine your faith. But tempting, Satan entices you to sin, that is leading to destruction. God tests to build you up. Satan tempts to destroy you. God tests you. Satan tempts to destroy you. What is the scriptural support for this distinction? God tests his people, never sin. So Deuteronomy 8:2. God tested you to know what is in your heart. He will not tempt you. So Psalm 66 verse 10, God tested us like silver is tested. If you want to buy gold or silver, you have to test it. Is it true? Is it original or fake? So it's not that you are tempting. So in the book of Exodus 15:25, there he tested them. God also tested them in the book of Exodus 15:25. God never and will never tempt anybody for evil. He can't test you to do evil. He can't tempt you to do evil. James 1:13-14. It's all about each person is tempted. So you read it forward. Each person tempted when drawn to their own lust. You are drawn by your own lust. So James chapter 1 verse 2-3 says, trial, test, come to grow faith, not to cause sin. So the same James, when you read the book of James chapter 1 verse 2-3, trial comes so that you can grow in faith, not to cause sin. When you go to the book of James 1, the same chapter 13-14, you see that each person is tempted. It's not tested, tempted. So Satan is the tempter. You need to know that. Satan is a tempter. Matthew chapter 4 verse 1-3. Jesus is not a tempter. God is not a tempter, but Satan is a tempter. But God will prove you. God will test you. So Matthew 4 verse 1-3. The tempter came to tempt Jesus. The tempter, that's what the Bible says. He didn't came to test Jesus. Because if he came to test Jesus, he will not say, bow for me. He will not say, throw yourself down. He will not say this and that. So he came to tempt him. Maybe he will obey. He will fall to that trap. But if God is testing you, there's no trap that you are going to. He wants to test your faith. So maybe you are in him. In the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 3 verse 5, it's about the tempter had tempted you. The tempter he didn't say God has tempted you. So the book of, let's now look at the theological conclusion about the book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1 and the book of James 1:13. God did not tempt Abraham to do evil. He did not tempt Abraham to do evil. He tested Abraham's faith. He tested Abraham's faith. He examined. He proved to know, to assess his loyalty. So to prove his loyalty and to reveal God's redemptive plan, showing a picture to Christ's sacrifice. All the story that you read about Isaac being wanted to be sacrificed is a story of Jesus. Abraham represented God. Isaac represented Jesus. So James chapter 1 verse 13 is addressing a different issue. It's not tempted. It's not a test there. So the book of James is not as the book of James chapter 1 verse 13 and the book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1. That tempt there, they are different. They have different meaning, even though they have different pronunciation and different spelling, but they have different meaning. The book of Genesis is talking about Nisa. The book of James is talking about Perazzo. So God never tempted anybody to commit sin. It is the devil that tempts people to commit sin. So thus God tests, Satan tempts. Genesis 22 and James are completely not contradictory. So Genesis 22 uses tempt in the Old Testament. That is in the Old English sense of testing. In the Old English of testing. So, you know, at times when the English translator, they want to write something, so they will use similar words, but not corrective words. It's permissive, but it's not perfect. That's what is called permissive, and that is something that is perfect. So the book of Genesis chapter 22 verse 1 uses tempt in the Old English sense of testing, not tempting to sin. James chapter 1 verse 13 teaches that God never tempts anyone in the sense of enticing or luring them to do evil. Scripture is perfect, consistent when you understand the Hebrew, Greek, and the Aramaic meaning. So if you have any question, you can put it down. Or if you have any Bible verses that you want us to look at, you can put it down. God bless you as you help us to share, like, and follow. Shalom.